Welcome back to the news at 10. For those who are criticizing the federal government's development programs in the Northwest, there may be some reasons to have a rethink. Reading out some achievements of the presidency in the area, the ministers of Power, Mines and Works explained that President Jonathan's policies did not exclude the development of the northern part of the country.
Process of strengthening distribution. That is not the case. Already on the ground, we had in place work that is being done by the project monitoring unit under financing from World Bank, for which at this present time, thousands of transformers are already on the ground to strengthen distribution in the Northwest Zone. The figures are there, the facts are there. So, Mr. President, I'm happy to report that your transformation agenda is working in the power sector, and the Northwest is benefiting substantially from that.
Your Excellency, you directed us. We awarded the contract. The contractor was working, and then somebody was trying to take ownership of that project in Kado.
Over now to some health issues. The Edo State government has responded to the 21-day ultimatum given by the state chapter of the Nigerian Medical Association. In an interview with Channels Television, the special advisor to the state governor on media, Mr. Kasima Febra, said the government's already in discussions with the Medical and Health Workers Union and the Association of Resident Doctors over the issues raised. He, however, made it clear to the two groups that the government can only address their demands according to the resources available.
We are not in dispute with the NMA because we are not their employer. The district government is not the employer of NMA. We are not in dispute with NMA. If anybody wants to play politics with the NMA, let them go ahead. But as a government, we will do that which is right, which is justifiable within the limits of the available resources that we have. And on February 21st, the governor had already slated a meeting to meet with the medical and health workers, which comprises the Association of Resident Doctors and Consultants and what have you. And so, as far as we are concerned, we don't want to join issues with NMA because we're not in dispute with them. And there's no basis for us to be in dispute with them because we're not their employer. So they cannot take us to task. Whilst the NMA has suspended its nationwide strike, it is not only curious and ridiculous that they have issued a 21-day ultimatum in Edo State, it goes to suggest also that they have ulterior motives just to embarrass government, blackmail government, and play politics with the lives of people of Edo State.
To education now, the Colleges of Education Academic Staff Union have threatened to resume a nationwide strike if the federal government fails to honor the agreement reached with the body last December. The president of the union, Mr. Asangankoro, says the body insists on the implementation of the agreement on the migration of lower cadre to the same salary scale with the general cadre. Another issue is the demand of the 2012 Visitation White Paper report, which dealt with the most lingering labor issues within the body. Now, the crisis rocking the leadership of the Ekiti State chapter of the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria may soon be resolved, as a 5-man committee has been set up by the national body to investigate the cause of the matter. Now, this was made known during a visit by the National Executive President of the Union, Musa Shehu, to the State Governor, Mr. Kayode Fayemi. Both men appealed to the members to be calm, as the problems will soon be resolved. The state chairman of the union and the former chairman have been locked in disagreement over the extension of the tenure of the current chairman.
The union, the association, has been relatively peaceful here, and it has been very, very supportive of the developmental agenda of the government, particularly in the transportation sector. We don't read any political undertone to whatever has happened within the union. All we're interested in is peace and progress for the betterment of our society.
What peace did not give you, crisis will not give it to you. You should allow peace to reign. Let love lead. That's my strategy all the time. When there's love, there's no crisis. There will be no crisis.
First Bank, truly the first.
Business news now. Here's Adeshola Josh. Adeshola.
Thank you very much. In business news, large cash withdrawals by Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) aided lending rate at the interbank this week has rose marginally to an average of 10.5%. Traders say NNPC sold around $400 million to banks last week and deposited the Naira proceeds in its account with the CBN. Meanwhile, the central bank also debited the CRR for the previous month from banks' accounts on Wednesday, reducing liquidity in the system and pushing up interbank borrowing costs. The open buyback was unchanged at 10.25%, 1.575 percentage points below the central bank's 12% benchmark rate. However, the overnight placement rate climbed to 10.5% from 10.25%, while the call money rate rose to 10.75% against 10.5% last week. Well, the federal government plans to raise 90 billion naira worth of bonds at its first monthly debt auction of the year 2014. The Vice President, Namadi Sambo, who received the management of the DMO, commended them for the supportive initiatives to President Jonathan's administration. The bonds will mature within 3 and 20 years.
The achievement of DMO in recent years constitute an integral part of transformation agenda of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan administration, whose principal objective is to ensure that the economic and social well-being of our citizens are enhanced through sound economic management, such as is being witnessed in the DMO's commendable achievements. For these and many other reasons, I am delighted to receive this report on a case study of successful government-to-government partnership and a peculiar example of how a Nigerian agency could maximize the benefits from a development partner support. I will present this report to Mr. President, after which it will be presented to the public.
Vice President Namadi Sambo. Well, the National Bureau of Statistics is expected to release the inflation figure for the month of December 2013 next week. Well, this comes ahead of the Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee meeting, scheduled to hold between the 21st and 22nd of this month. However, some analysts are saying the inflation rate for this month may likely remain unchanged from the December 2013 figure. The Central Bank of Nigeria has introduced a new payment system called Real-Time Gross Settlement System. According to the Apex Bank, it is part of efforts to implement the Payment System Vision 2020 strategy and would replace the old payment system, which has been in use for about 7 years. The CBN says that the RTGS is an interbank payment infrastructure aimed at facilitating the real-time settlement of electronic funds transfers on gross and irrevocable basis. The RTGS was built on SWIFT standards to allow for safer, easier, and faster interconnectivity with other payment system infrastructure, both locally and internationally. Improved bargain hunting by investors pushed the all-share index at the Nigerian equities market higher, and in the last trading session of the week on a positive note. Bisikoka joins us now with the day's closing figures.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Markets Reports. The Nigerian equities market wrapped up trading activities for the week upbeat as the key broad index rose by 0.28% to 41,480.62. Now market capitalization closed at 13.27 trillion naira.
Owando was Friday's best performer with a 2 naira 44 kobo gain ahead of Lafarge Watco and Guinness. Now, stocks that failed to appeal to investors include Nestle, Nigerian Breweries, and UBM. Ecobank Transnational Incorporated tops the list of the most favored stocks, churning out over 35 million units. Now, when the closing bell rang to wrap up activities for the week, volume traded stood at 294.98 million units, valued at over 6 billion naira, and exchanged in close to 6,000 deals. And that ends the stock market reports. I am BC Koka. Thank you, Bisi Koka. That's Business News this hour. The News at 10 continues in a moment.
First Bank, truly the first.
Still ahead on the News at 10, NFF President Aminu Negari believes 2014 will be a good year for Nigerian football. That's on Sports News. Do join us again.